I can't get the lighting right in here, guys. Sorry. I'll play 15-10 again. And try to not do as badly as we did last time we did this. If anyone was here the other night when I did this, I lost rating points and lost a lot of my games. I was actually below 1800 before chess.com gave me my rating points back from someone who was cheating. Okay, let's hit d4. The pawn doesn't want to take or push because there's bishop takes b2. And then we'd be taking this rook. So now the objective is going to be to put pressure here. And I think just queen b6 is going to put 3 attackers on d4 and b2. Pawn takes, we have queen takes b2. We're still going to win this rook on a1. Queen b3, we're just going to take the queen, take on d4 twice. Sorry, my arrows are bad. Should just be winning a pawn here. Unless he blunts the blunder material. This bishop move is suspicious because it loosens b2. So we can take. Now we're going to see like knight b d2 to save the rook, assuming. No, I don't want to get my queen trapped in no man's land. Let's take on d4. I'd like to go here, but looks like I'd be losing my bishop there. So maybe we could just go knight c6. Yeah, the other night when I did this, I played a couple of people who I thought were cheating just because of the rating disparity and the fact that they didn't make any errors. And I reported both of them. And I think it was the 1100 who beat me, who got accused of, who got was the one cheating. Trust me, 1100s don't play like the person was playing the other night. Anytime we've got our queen in a scenario where she's kind of trapped back here, we always got to be aware. Always got to be aware that she could get trapped if we're not careful. So he's trying to cut it off so that somehow he can play rook b1. But if he does right away, I just play queen takes. Anyway, all we need to do is find a way to complete development. think I just gave him this move. No, I think he could perpetual attack my queen if he wants. Or he can do this. Attack his knight, his bishop. Yeah, chess.com ended up giving me back like 20 points for the game I lost. This is kind of annoying though, that the queen is kind of stuck over here. Like she went from not having very many squares on the queen side to here where she could not have very many squares as well if bishop e2 is played. Now if he could somehow defend this and protect, he could try to trap my queen. I think though queen d2 we just go h6. Queen d2 h6 defends against that. G3 we're taking on h3. There's no bishop g4 follow up because we have knight takes g4. I don't know why it shows on Twitch on my computer that I'm hosting something right now and not running my stream. So my queen's gonna have a little more space on the king side. Can we not just take this? Double attack on this. Yeah, this was allowing rook takes c4 was a blunder for white. Bishop takes f6 doesn't make any sense because we can just take, and then we're defending e7. If the idea was to try to get the rook in here, and there's no time for rook takes e7 because we just win the bishop on d4. And that's just game. It definitely looks like we're not going to get a cheater in this game. Nothing suspicious. What? Bishop takes b6? What the heck? Okay. That was just giving up a piece for no reason. Just giving up a piece for no reason. Let's do this. Queen d4. We hit the rook. We try to trade queens. Okay, queen b3, what's the idea? We could just keep taking stuff. No! That was supposed to be knight takes d5. Fortunately, we didn't just make a losing blunder, but that's not what we wanted to do. Not what we wanted to do. Check. King has to go here. Then we go bishop here. And then g3, we have this move. Bishop g2, and then queen g1, gg. So the sack, no, had to sack. Pretty easy game. Let's see though what he could have done better. Like that knight h5 move was unintended. So what are we at? We are at 91.4 accuracy. So even in a game like that, I still could have played 6 moves better, which is kind of I didn't. I had a mistake. Okay. So bishop f4 first. This is not a good move because it just allows black easy pressure on d4, which is something he already wants to do. And without this bishop on c1 guarding b2, then c5 is even more powerful. Because there's no push or take because the bishop takes b2. And then bishop takes rook follows. So black is already, I'd say, much better. And then after this next move, oh, knight f3 is excellent. In this position though he need to play this like a gambit. Knight c3, I take, and then he has knight b5, threatening knight c7. So that would have been an idea. Taking on d4 was not necessary. Just seeing if at any point I was ever going to get my queen trapped. Doesn't look like it. Oh, I could have just taken on c4. But after this move, we're just winning. And here I intended to play take on d5, which is better, but my mouse slipped. But we still have like mate. So pretty uneventful game, even though the computer feels like I could have played several more accurate moves. You know, computers are what they are, guys. A win is a win. And unless you're somebody like Nakamura. Hey, Oli Pals, welcome. Unless you're someone like Nakamura, you know, do you need to find, you know, all the accurate moves if you win the game? Probably not. Pretty uneventful, though. Oli Pals, how are you doing, my man? Let's keep it exciting. Let's play e4. Doing good, man. Doing good. Did 9 hours of work today. Came home and took a little bit of a rest. And woke up not too long ago and wanted to play chess. I had intended to play chess a little earlier than now, but I wasn't home till later. We got 1700 here. That's cool. Bishop g7. Same theory, guys. Pressure d4, c5. Coach is online. I hope he stops by. Always a good stream when Coach stops by. Okay, so now we have c5. And he can defend it. Bishop e3, kind of, again, you run into that scenario where you kind of got to watch b2. Okay, so but we can do this. Take on d4. And then go knight c6. I mean, it's a scenario where if white... Okay. Every time I've used this line lately, it's let me down. Like, I'm mixing up my positions in my head. Because in some of these positions, there's queen b6. And then on knight takes, we have queen takes b2, but then there's bishop d4. Protecting and hitting our queen. Okay, so let's just go queen a5, I guess. I'm going to assume we're going to see knight c3. And then we'll just transpose back. We'll play knight f6. So this is pretty standard position. I want to just take on e4. f3 or bishop e2. No, not bishop e2, because that doesn't stop. Yeah, I keep getting my lines mixed up though, because in some of the lines there's queen b6, but I don't know if I'm missing something. Castles, queen d2. And this move is to be expected. There's also bishop e2. I mean, I guess you could go bishop d3. That just seems a little weird. I mean, black just wants to, like, go d6. Maybe knight takes d4. White definitely has a space plus advantage. So it's usually good to try to trade off a piece or two, so that your remaining forces have places to go. I remember this playlist being more fun than this for some reason. Maybe my music likes have changed. I never posted on my Discord that I was live. Maybe I'll do that. See if we can get a few more bodies in the chat. This may help us get a few bodies in here. I was thinking the other day it would be it'd be fun to maybe play viewers game 15 sometime and then analyze their games on stream sometime. If anybody thinks that would be interesting to do, you know. It's funny, all the it kicked all discords back to the main page on my stuff. All right. If you guys are watching the chat and you're new here, thanks for hanging out. Those of you who have been around the channel a long time know I used to be a lot more active, but these days I'm not as active with work. So gotta enjoy these moments. If you have any questions about the channel, let me know. Okay, so what are we doing here? Probably d6, maybe a6, b5 at some point. It's pretty standard. Same concept of trying to find a way to trade a couple of pieces for black is a good general rule of theory. This position that white's playing is called the Marazzi bind. And it's got this kind of, white has all this coverage in the center of the board is the idea. It's it's a strong way of playing. I've been known to try it in certain situations. White wants to look to attack, but he doesn't want to go too quickly. Because if he goes too quickly, the space he's leaving behind could be exploited. It's a little bit slower of a way to play for white than we're probably used to in the Sicilian, where it's fast and furious on both sides. You know, whoever whoever attacks first is usually whoever gets their attack first is usually the most successful. TB TXB TSXU. I don't know how to say her name. They, yeah, absolutely. Uh, Pretty standard for black is actually to try a6 b5 at some point to try to open the queen side. Okay, so he's not castling yet. He's making another move. So always got to watch for stuff like h4, h5, pawn takes, runs into queen g5, game over. h4, h5, knight takes, rook takes, queen g5, game over. Kind of feel like I should take that though. I feel like that's the correct decision for something. Yeah, white does have an outpost. It's pretty standard mainline stuff, you know. I want to go after, since he's delayed castling and this c pawn is weak. I would just want to go knight e5. I just want to hit c4 twice. What does he do about that? Knight b5. We can just go queen c6, and we're still threatening this. A knight on b5 wouldn't be really threatening anything after we move our queen, and we can just boot it with time. So I feel like white is starting to slip here. Yeah, white is rushing into a fight without being ready. That's going to bite him. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, welcome into the channel, by the way. I see that it looks like you are a new viewer. If you have any questions about my content or about my schedule, you know, just feel free to ask. I have a couple specific days I try to stream on, and then, like I said, I've been doing mornings at my job lately, and that's taken a lot of energy out of me at night. You know, just having to go to bed earlier and stuff. I don't last as long in the evenings. When you switch from working midday shifts to working 4 a.m., it takes a lot out of you. So, but I do still try to hold to 2 or 3 specific days a week where I stream. Okay, he had night D2, but now we had to move his night backwards. So that's a plus for us. What if we just go with bishop e6, I guess? Just hit it again. b3, I'm hoping, kind of overextends the queen side. Uh, come back on a Sunday. Sunday I play subs and viewers. Um, my channel's not really. I don't really care about the level of the people watching my content. I try to make my streams geared towards helping people improve their chess. So I don't really care what level you are when you come into my stream. I want to help you get better at chess. I want to get better at chess. Um, so so I don't know what your level is, but that's kind of what my channel is geared towards. And I did teach chess for 15 years. So I've got experience helping people improve. I know how to explain what's going on. I know how to take an advanced position and kind of make it so that there's something that's applicable to people of all levels. So on Sunday, I play people of any level, and we talk about improvements where people could have gone and done better. So it's awesome having you here. Um, yeah, feel free to hit that follow button. Would love to have you um, for future. The lead test ratings are inflated. Inflated. I don't really use. Thank you for the follow. I don't really use lead chess too often. Oh man, it's all about, for me, it's about building the community, but I want people, it's not just about the followers. I want people in here who want to improve at chess, whatever amount they want to improve at chess. And I want to be able to help you. You know, it's a way I can still help people with their chess even though I'm not actively teaching anymore. And honestly, this stream is, I want to be strong enough to fight the woman I like. Explain that statement. Oh, just 1 second. Is she a chess player? She kicks your butt with chess? Well, just, hang out in the stream. I'll try to help you get better. Just let me know. She should be in your master grandmaster. Well, sometimes it feels like if people kill you that's how good they are, but in reality that's not really the case. They're not really that strong. But who knows? I don't know the person. I don't know your level. Um, what about we just continue harassing? Queen a5, hit the knight. This is just one of those scenarios. I mean, usually in the Maratzi, against the Maratzi bind as black, if they go knight d5, you normally take anyway. So it's not about winning or losing. It's about It's about learning, absolutely. And that's what my channel is geared towards. If you ever want to talk chess off stream too, slide into my Discord. Anyway, later this week, I am still planning on doing my viewer slash sub Sunday, where I'll play viewers and subs. You know, pawn chains are annoying, definitely annoying to play against, but once you learn how to kind of break them down, like in this position, for example, white is not fully, you know, he hasn't castled, his bishop isn't moved, he's overextended on the queen side already, so moves like a6, b5 just completely break up this queenside structure, and then the position just starts falling apart. Obviously, we're hitting this knight right now as the bigger threat. White definitely, when he played bishop h6, he started down a wrong path here. So black got the initiative here. It's just up to him to try to keep it and finish his opponent off. I don't know how much of an initiative it is. It looks like, even though material's even, it looks like a pretty big advantage for me personally. Let's play some more music. Play some more music. Yeah, he's struggling here. I mean, moves like rook c1 could run into queen a3, just tickling more. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a pretty standard plan that white was playing. Yeah, just push the rooks, absolutely. I would say put a rook on c8 and play a6, b5, and I think that whole side of the board is falling apart. Even a move, even a6, b5 right away, say he protects. Okay, rook c1, a6, he makes a move, b5, pawn takes, and then something takes on b5. Well, we get c-file pressure, and that whole side of the board is falling apart. Yeah, the Sicilian opening does have the weakness. It's okay for white to try to trade off that bishop, but typically you would want to have like h4, h5 on the board, and so I'm not sure why we're not seeing rook c1. What? Why not a6? Why not a6 here? He's going knight d4. We have queen c3. a6. Okay, so he's going knight d4 because on queen c3. No, he doesn't have knight takes e6 threatening mate because his rook is hanging. Right? If he had the ability to just let the rook fall, but he can't. That's not going to do anything because if he takes, we take the rook and then he moves and then we just take, and his mate threat is gone and he's down material. Yeah, no, with the rook hanging, he knows he's lost. I feel like he knows he's been lost for a while. He's just hoping I missed mate. I mean, This is just GG. It was too soon. It was too soon to do what he did. So, how did you come across this channel? What led you to my channel? Yep, development preparation was not ready. Absolutely. See, you sound like a strong player. What is your level? Do you have an over the board rating, or do you just play online right now? Well, obviously a lot of people are just playing online. But you're weak. But you sound... Yeah, he played G4 and then resigned. We just have knight takes G4. Forking. We're already up a ton. Well, you sound like you have very good understanding of what's going on. You sound like you're stronger than... I don't know, maybe your rating... Oh. This is you. I thought there was a chance it was you, because I've got the link posted in my stuff. Oh, okay. 1700's not bad, though. That's not... I don't think that's weak. That's not like beginner level, and you don't talk like you're a beginner. Let's see. So basically, you just self-critiqued yourself. Yeah, oh, so first issue is... Okay, let's expand this. Let's expand this here. So you can see. Accuracy is a big issue in this game for you. Where are we at? We are on... I mean, if you hadn't watched this whole stream while you played, 98.6 accuracy versus 57.1. So basically I played as perfect a game as I... Okay. Basically, I played as perfect a game as I could play. And you just had some inaccuracies. Okay, let's see. Okay, so... Typically when we get this formation, you know, we would go c5. And then there's knight f3, there's bishop e3. What else? d5, you have d5 expanding and gaining space. d5 is very common, so it's just defending. They both lead to different lines. I am curious, I want to see this one. I'm trying to remember. One of these variations, I have something funky. Bishop e3 and queen b6. I've been missing something lately, though. Knight takes c6. You don't play queen takes b2. I have a line where you can take on b2. He has a really strong opening. This isn't you. I thought you just said this was you. I thought you just said this was you. Oh my goodness, my screen's messed up again. Sorry. This isn't you I was playing. I don't know who you're talking about. I thought it was you. Oops. Oh, it's not you. Okay. Well, if my opponent is in the chat, feel free to chime in. I'd love to also hear your opinion on things. I know there's some variation, maybe from a different move order, where you can on knight takes c6 you have queen takes b2, but it's not this position because there'd be bishop d4. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, it's a different position. Okay, so bishop e3, knight f... Oh, queen a5 first. Knight c3. Okay, white's fine. Knight f6. f3. I mean, white's playing fine. Castles, this is all standard. Knight b3. Nothing wrong with that. Queen c7. Queen d2. He needs to develop... Right now, you know, 10 moves into the game, he's doing amazing. He's doing great. Here. He's got 4 pieces developed. He can castle... He's probably got castle kingside. We know he's probably got castle kingside because his c-pawn is all the way up the board. So this is very, very even. d6. Bishop h6 is the mistake, yes. You always got to time... It's the right concept of against the Sicilian where you want to trade. You want to trade your dark square bishop for black's g7 bishop, but it's too soon. Because white is not in a position to follow up right away. And now black just makes one little threat, and now white's on the defensive. Knight d2. Bishop e6. Lord Scourge, welcome in. So this little bishop h6 move, I said it during the game, felt like it was going astray. And black has basically doubled his advantage the last 2 moves. b3. Okay, not queen a5. Why would queen c5 to go queen d4? Computer wants queen c5 for some reason. Interesting. So, castling queenside... Castle... Oh. Where'd the board go? Castling queenside is pretty typical against most variations of Sicilian. But you don't really want to do it. You want to be careful. You'd have to be careful in the Marazzi bind, which is what white's playing. Because whenever a pawn is pushed up c2, c4, and you castle queenside, it's a whole lot easier for black to attack. Because of all that space. Yeah, queenside castling... I'm trying to think. In the Marazzi bind, if you see that too often. I don't feel like you see it too often. But yes, against the Sicilian, when black plays the Sicilian, white usually castles queenside. And the ones where black castles kingside tend to be more tame. Anyway. See, you sound very, very strong to me for someone who says he's weak. I'm not buying it. Knight b5, yes. It's just an outright blunder. Because now we have a6. And I think maybe he thought he had knight d4. And he forgot that this rook is hanging. And the issue with that is it's also a check to make matters worse. Now we just win material. He is threatening mate, but we just take. And then take. What's a good setup for white against the e6 Sicilian? The e6 Sicilian. Are we talking about, the analysis board? Um, E4, C5, knight F3, E6. Znoob92, how are you doing? Welcome into the channel. Like, the Con Sicilian and the French Sicilian, the Paulson. See, I haven't done. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Who's that? No, who's that? That's you. Guys, what are you doing?
Sorry.
We're talking about chess. I'm gonna bore you so much you're gonna leave the room.
Sure.
Against the E6 or A6 variations of Sicilian, I like to play G3, Bishop G2, Castle, maybe C3, D4.
How long are you playing this one for?
Turn off my fan, please. Was that you?
No, not really.
All night. All night.
Wait.
You're not supposed to be on the stream.
Wait, when was that? Was that last time?
No, that's right now.
Really?
I play open Sicilian sometimes.
It is not.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like you pushed me and you didn't do that.
Okay, you're really not supposed to be on camera. You're too young.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not. I'm
Hey,
saying-
Nana. Mom?
Okay, okay.
You want to call the kids downstairs? Downstairs. Okay. Yes, Uncle Caleb? Go downstairs. Give me mine. Don't make me lock the door. Sorry about that, guys. Let me catch up with the chat. I will go into an open Sicilian, but it. Let's see if we can get another Sicilian opponent. Anyway, I play opens too. Say what? Here? What do we want here for black? In this position. Right. Right. So play a move. What move do you... Oh, no, it's white's move, right? D4, pawn takes, knight takes. What do we want? A6? A6? A6, knight C3. Knight C6 or queen C7. Knight F6, obviously. There's bishop B4. Let's see if we can try to find someone. Oh my goodness, I shut chess.com down. Let's see if we can actually get someone who plays a Sicilian. No, I definitely play. I definitely will play an open Sicilian as well. Yeah, A6 is the most common move these days. Absolutely. A6 is definitely the most common move these days. Okay, so we got white, so hopefully we can get a Sicilian. The board disappeared again. No, we did not get a Sicilian. Let's play Scotch. We got a Scotch. And this is the kind of chat I like, guys. We need more chat like this on the channel. This is what chess.com has said has been the reason that I don't stream for him yet. Okay, d4 is the Scotch game. And then he can take, and we have bishop c4, the Scotch gambit, or we just have straight up knight takes d4. I like bishop c4. Both lines are good. You know what? If you want ZNoob92, if you want to come back Sunday, we could play like I'll play you a little longer game if you come back Sunday, and I can like try to play it against you if you want, and we could talk about it. I have trouble mentally right now in my head just trying to process everything you're saying. You know, I know what my answers are. Okay, do we not just have c3, and if they go here, we have queen d5? Threatening mate? I don't think we even have to take on d4. I don't even think we have to take on d4 here, guys. This bishop e7 move is very weak. Okay, we'll just take, right? White is much better. These pawns are just going to roll in the center of the board. If knight takes e4 with the intention knight takes e4 and d5, we could just sack on f7 as well in that position. Queen e2, I guess. Maybe we'll play a move like rook d1. He might try bishop g4. We're going to go defend this because knight takes d4 was the threat to exploit this knight. Anyway, this, for those of you who have known that a long time ago, chess.com talked to me about streaming for them. The last time I contacted them, they want more talking in my chat from people watching, and this is the type of stuff they want to see. So I really appreciate you guys being here. It's more fun anyway with viewers, but thank you for being here, guys. Let's keep active in the chat. Any questions you have for me about chess, about the game going on, if you don't understand that's something that's going on the board, you know, let me know and I can try to explain it to you. Black chose a very, very passive opening here, and he's just at a space disadvantage, basically. These two center pawns are amazing. This bishop is wonderful. This knight is great. This knight is good, the queen's good, the rook is good. Basically, the only issue right now for white that he needs to deal with is just to try to probably break this pin on his knight somehow. But other than that, he's just cruising. Black's pieces are developed, but they're not. They're not really doing anything. You're giving good advice. Well, I started teaching chess in schools when I was 14, actually. Blacks, yeah, this is one of those variations that's like, it's a variation to play, but it's one of those things where you see it when someone plays it and you're like, it's a variation, but it's just, why is this the variation you would choose? It's quite possible this is the variation my opponent chose just because he's not sure what else to play. There's a lot of variations in the Scotch that you can memorize. Yeah, he's not sure what to do here because he has a very passive position. I don't know about you guys, but I always prefer to have the more active position. Znoob 92. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of Grandmaster Roman. Not really an active player these days, tournament-wise. I'm going to try to break this pin. He has about 100 videos, though, he's done on different openings and things. And one of his videos he covered a long time ago was on the Scotch. Now, some people would argue that that's old theory, but I would say he used computers in all his analysis. So even if that video is really old, it should still be pretty, it should be pretty. Okay, so we broke the pin on our knight. Well, our knight is pinned to our rook, but we got our queen out of the way, which is good. We're just going to take this patiently. Anyway, he has a video on the Scotch. Just look up Roman's Labs, his video on the Scotch. You could actually probably even find it on YouTube. Very, very strong. Like I said, doesn't compete in tournaments these days, but he's very up to date on his openings. So go check that video out, or just Google. I don't know if you have a premium chess.com membership, but I do, and there's a lot of videos on the Scotch. The classical trick where you win the bishop on g4, where you play bishop takes f7 and king takes f7, knight g5 check, king moves, and then you take the bishop on g4? Or you're they're called that's what the whole video series is called. I'm not sure if I'm referring to the correct bishop trap that you are. I have about... How many do I have? I have about 20 of Roman's DVDs. Mine are mostly on specific chess openings of his. And like I said, he has over 100 DVDs worth of content, and he is an amazing teacher. I think he's the type of guy that if he showed up to a tournament nowadays, he's one of those rare players who would have a chance against people who are booked up and stuff, because his theory is not, I don't feel like his theory is out of date. And sometimes when you have people in tournaments, their theory, you know, they're out of tournaments for a while, their theory gets a little stale, and somebody finds an improvement against a line or whatever. But I don't think his theory would fall into that scenario. I think because he spends so much time creating. See, this is almost just inviting this knight into d5 to hit this bishop. I think yes, right? Hit that. Definitely hit that. We don't want to go, like someone in the chat said, we don't want to go too quick. But this just improves this knight. Now this knight can't move. Not that it really had anywhere to go anyway, but because the knight takes e7 and a royal fork. Granium HDZ, welcome in. We are talking about openings. We are talking about Grandmaster Roman is one of my favorite players when I am looking to learn an opening, basically. See, I want to play b4, b5, and then threaten to take this knight and then fork. I mean, I have so much space in the center of the board and he's so passive. There's no threat here, right? This is all covered. Plus we're opening up our bishop. Right here, possibly. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad news. Really bad news for black. This is probably just lost already. Oh, right. That variation. I do remember that one. You literally every time you play again. Okay, so he got out of the threat to deal with taking and then take on e7, but his pieces are just so passive. We're going to put the bishop on b2. So now our bishop has a very, very nice diagonal. And we're all geared up here. We're all geared up here to do something. I mean, there's going to be a tactical blow here somewhere here in a second. So what? He wants to take on e4. And this is where we just start to think about opening the position, because we got the two bishops. Or do we want to just defend? I hate to have to drop the bishop off that great diagonal, but I don't want him taking on e4, and I don't see anything crushing here yet. Wait, how many attackers do we have on e5? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we take and he takes, he's gonna have 1, 2, 3. But this pawn is automatically gonna be pinned to the. Our queen's gonna be pinned on the e file. I mean, it feels like we should have a decisive blow. What opening did he play? I played a Scotch, and he played a very weak variation that I don't even think should count as a variation. This bishop e7, very, very weak variation. It's a variation, but the problem is with a lot of those passive variations is you have to be very accurate in how you play them. Okay, so do we take on f6 and force him to probably take with the knight, but that's going to give us the e5 move. Pawn takes, pawn takes. Or do we just defend bishop d3 and move our queen and go from there? It's a hard decision. You don't want to back up because he's been playing so passively. Yeah, I mean, right? His position is so... He's been playing so many passive moves, you want to just... You don't want to squander your initiative. You want to go for it, but... I mean, I can go both ways in a position. If I really am comfortable in the position, I'll go for it. And other times, I'll just be solid. You know, it's really just... learning about what positions you go all out in and what positions you take it solid. I mean, if I drop back, I'm dropping back. His position is so passive that I just want to, the computer's probably not going to like that move when we analyze it later. It's probably really going to hate that move. But, I don't know. I'm not... Scotch is a work in progress for me, so I'm a little more tempted to be on the solid side. Right now, at least. I mean, he's trying to use his bishops. He's trying to use his rook to pressure, but... What are these knights doing, you know? These are bad. This queen is right in the middle of these two rooks. I mean, if you're black, you want to be able to have something like c6 to try to kick my knight or force it to take. Okay. See, more moves that don't really do anything. So queen f4 looks good, because that's putting pressure on f6, and if that d7 knight moves, f6 might be weak. Plus queen f4 gets us out of the e line. Let's do that. Queen f4. So now we're out of the e file pressure, if there was any. Knight b6, we might think about taking and pushing. We want to open this diagonal. In which case our knight is probably going to be in the way at some point. On d5. As much as it's a beautiful piece, we might think about trading it for something. Again, I need to be looking at e5 pawn breaks at some point. Really happy with the way my brain is working right now tonight, guys. Picked a good night to play game in 15. Guys, I am also doing work on my YouTube channel. I'm going to start posting videos over there from the streams. Stream highlights, stream uploads, and even some lessons. So just trying to do a lot of work over there to try to help grow the channel, because I feel like I can get people who wouldn't normally be or know about my channel through that way. So if you guys want to sub over there for free, I'd really appreciate the support over there as well. I'm trying, man. There's so many people streaming chess these days, you gotta... Yeah, it's really a style thing, right? We would say going on right now. Okay, I want to push this b pawn. If he goes knight b4, I mean, it's gotta be push. It's gotta be push. If he drops his knight back to b8, I'm gonna laugh at him. He's got to go. Yeah, he's got to go knight b4. He's got to go knight b4, and then. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take. Like I said, at some point we're gonna need to open our bishop. Then we're going to defend e4, and then we're gonna come back with bishop to c4. Is the idea. What is this knight doing? What is this queen doing? He did kind of activate the rook, so. But, you know, the bishop ends up on c4, defends this pawn, and then is back to its pressure on that diagonal. Yeah. That's part of that is because a lot of people don't like playing slow chess on stream. I'm actually one of those people. I just do it because it forces it forces me to think. And that might seem crazy to you guys, but I'm a very lazy, I would classify myself as a very lazy chess thinker. Like I'm very used to playing speed chess. A lot of the events I played in when I was younger were predicated on playing speed chess, actually. So, am I letting him unravel this? We can't take because bishop takes bishop. Okay, you know what? If I'm letting him off the hook, I'm going to be really irritated. Alright, that's it. You know what, though? If it got, you know, if it got me 15 to 20 viewers, I would probably do it more. But that still doesn't even, you know, that doesn't really help my numbers. And that's not what it's all about, but chess.com wants to see a little bit of that before they use me, I think. Okay, see, knight d2 loses to bishop g5, winning the knight. So we're on a... It's got to be like knight e5 or something, because we can't defend this anymore. Okay. Pawn takes, we might have to do something like knight takes d... Oh. You can't... If you pushed e5, you lose your bishop on d3. If you push would be the ideal move, but you just lose this. And then when you take... I don't know, I feel like he's kind of unraveling, and our bishop is blocked on b2. Oh, what? Oh, okay. Pawn takes. Okay, queen f3. We need to defend e4. Oh no, I guess we had two defenders on it. I'm not sure this is good for us as it was before, but he is down to 6 minutes. I know, e5 would have been the ideal move there. The computer's going to be very critical of my play in this game. You know? I still think we're better. Oh, e5's in trouble now, right? What have I done? Okay, but we're gonna have bishop c4 and then rook a d1. We should be able to get this. We should be able to win this d4 pawn back with tempo. But I definitely missed something. I definitely missed something. But Znoob, yeah, absolutely. If playing more slow chess gets people like you in here, I will definitely consider it. Definitely consider doing a lot more of it. Okay, c5. We have en passant, guys, and then we can take on d4 with tempo. Or we can take on d4, attacking this rook, and then threatening discoveries, possibly, on the queen. So you have hella channel points. I need to set up like I can use stream elements for song request, but I don't have it set up so you can specifically spend them. You can just request the song, you know. Yeah, any ideas of what to do with that? You know, definitely open to suggestions. I've played this guy before. No, I haven't. I thought I had played this guy before. Okay, so he wants to take on e4 with tempo. Take on d4. Yeah, I've gotta figure out what to do with that. That's definitely something that's been discussed a few times on my streams by people. I know one of my mods had some stuff he was doing with the channel points a few times. No, was it channel points or was it something else? He had like polls and stuff set up so people could predict the result of games or what opening I was going to play and stuff like that. That was fun. But he hasn't been around I haven't seen him for a long time. I hope he's okay. Very strong chess player and very good mod. And that's the whole thing with the mods on my channel. Like, they'll just disappear. I had one in here tonight, but he also disappeared, you know? Okay, if he's trying to take here with this discovery, that's not going to work right now because we just take on e4. Oh, what do we do, guys? This is super frustrating. You know that feeling when you know you have a much better position, but you don't know what to do with it? That's what we got going on right now. Here, 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 here. That looks interesting because we have f7 pressure. Ooh, maybe we try that. But can he go here, here, here? He has here, here, check, g3. Are we missing something? Rook e8, yeah. I'm starting to wonder if we have that good of a position anymore. It feels like it's not as good as it was. Maybe it still is. I mean, bishop d5, we defend this, and we go after b7. Ooh, bishop d5, he has rook takes. And if rook takes, he has bishop takes b2. Winning material. Bishop d5, rook takes. Pawn takes is impossible due to queen takes e1. So bishop d5 is actually losing. Okay, let's try this. He's got less than 3 minutes left. We want to try to keep the clock moving. I feel like though that I've really slipped this game up. I really wanted to play bishop d5 there, but this bishop on b2 is just undefended. What was I looking at there? There's no rook d7. He could just take it. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Yuck. He can just take on e4. Why I thought I had a rook sack on e4 and then rook d7. So I'm just going to have to move my queen, basically, if he plays bishop takes e4. But then we're still threatening rook d7. And then f7 is loose. So at least, you know, we're trying to make something happen, I guess you could say. Trying to make something happen. He's getting low on time. Joe, thank you for subscribing to me on YouTube. I appreciate it. Appreciate the support. I'm not sure how soon it's going to be, but I will be. I think the first videos I'm going to post on YouTube will be about the birds opening. The birds opening, which I pretty much used exclusively for years in tournaments. I became very, very strong with that stuff, so. Okay, queen g3, he'd have rook g5, attacking our rook and our queen. Okay, I want to go queen b3, and then the idea is to go rook d7 with massive pressure against f7. I mean, it is just quite possible that this position is lost for black. Even though I don't like how I got here. I don't like how I got here, but anyway, hopefully sometime in the next couple of weeks I will post 1 or 2 videos on YouTube about the birds opening. I'll probably just start with okay. That was a good move. Covering d7, very, very logical. I want to try to keep the clock going. Okay, I can't take that because I lose my d2 rook. What's the most logical move? Bishop e5. Takes g3. He's going to be playing on increment. There are many routes to Rome, yeah. I'm just... What I did in this game, I'm not pleased about how I went about this. It definitely doesn't feel like I deserve to win this anymore. You know. And kudos to my opponent for fighting it out. Obviously though, he's still got to finish the game off. Okay, rook e1 is queen d6 and I lose the bishop. I have queen e5. Should we go rook e1? f6 loses the bishop. Shoot. The annoying thing is this scenario where I trade queens is easier. Yeah, not happy about my play. He defended well. Absolutely, he defended well, but... It's not over. It's definitely not over. It's very drawish. Very drawish. Rook b6, we even have a4. May as well just... Almost tempted to just offer a draw here. Because all he's just gaining time every move. Moves are pretty easy to make. Alright. Oh my gosh, he's declining the draw. He thinks he's gonna win this? Guys, he thinks he's gonna win this. I mean, okay. I will not say 100% there's no chance he can win this, but you would think after surviving that position, like, to get to this position, like, he'd be content with a draw, you know? How's he gonna win this, guys? Are you all as intrigued as I am to see this technique? It'd be comical if he finds a way to lose this. Right? He's really hoping, he's really pushing, you know, the bounds of logic right now. Okay. I'm not losing this pawn endgame. I mean, really the only one who could lose this endgame if we trade rooks is black. Because of his king position. Okay, let's not take. Okay. Can I lose the opposition? No. It's one of those scenarios where you're like, here, you gotta be careful. Here, here, here. Yeah, we could lose. Sometimes you can do... Oh my god, he declined the draw? Where are you gonna go? You can't go anywhere else, dude. Right. Okay, let's see what I missed. I'm pretty sure I missed a win somewhere. Yes? Yes? Well, if the door's unlocked, you could come in, but it's not. You can't come in because I'm on stream. Why do you want to come in? I didn't miss any wins, apparently. Sorry, not right now. Yeah, this is just a very passive book line. I'm not happy about that draw. Again, if he plays here, there's queen d5. This is... Yeah, I did miss that he could take on e4 multiple times. After he didn't, though. White's just about a pawn ahead. Pawn and a half. Knight d5. 1.79. b4. I did think about going knight f4. I guess the idea would be that maybe we want to take, because he can't take with the f-pawn because of the bishop. And then we could force double g-pawns. Maybe. Or we're just improving our knight. It does make me feel better to hear I didn't miss any wins, though. Okay, b5 is a mistake. So we need to take on a5 and play a4. Whoa. Computer is saying take, rook takes, and then go a4, allow rook takes d5, pawn takes, what do we got? Bishop takes, it said bishop takes d3 originally, knight b4. Why the sack? See, when you see a sack like that, in a position where it said white didn't have a forced win, it just makes you wonder. This song? That's weird. I wouldn't have thought taking on a5 was the move. Nor would I figure here that black should take on d5. Why? That doesn't even make any sense. Okay. And apparently black is ever so slightly better here. And this is the position I should have pushed. Because my bishop on d3 is protected. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders on e5, 4 attackers. So this was where I should have pushed. But now I can't. And black is just... Okay, he's not better here. He had an opportunity to stay better, it looked like, but... d4, bishop c4... And rook f4. Interesting. So black is slightly, ever so slightly better here. But this is, in my opinion, this is very drawish. Especially once we get into the rook position. C6 is bad. B4 is was just such a weak pawn that we were always getting. And then this is just a draw. Do you know what the name of the song was called? So, I would have thought at some point I had a crushing move, but it doesn't really look like there were crushing moves, which is nice to know. Leak song from Japan. Oh, it's onto another playlist now. It's another playlist. Okay. Hey, but we haven't lost a game 15 yet. Granted, we've only played 2, but 3. All right. Let's see if we can get someone like at least 1800. Nope, 1710 again. Let's see if we can get a Sicilian. No. We have a French. Okay, play a couple different variations against the French. I can play an open French. I could play like a King's Indian attack. What do we know about our opponent? 1700. I guess just go mainline. He's only 1700. Okay, let's push. I feel like I used the advanced variation of the French the other day in one of these game of 15s, 10s. I could try... What did I try this the other day? Knight f3, pawn takes bishop d3 with the idea to go knight b d2, castles, and go knight b3 and take on d4. Is an interesting gambit. Granium, if you've come up with something to do with the channel points and you know how to fix it, I might end up modding you, man, if you hang out, you know? Could always use somebody who knows how to do things to fix my stream. That way when the channel takes off, I can have great people on board like you helping out. If you're interested. Something to think about. I want to get some people on board who are good at helping with helping fix technical things. I've got a couple people who are, but they're not around very often, which, you know, is cool right now when the channel's not very big, but they never seem to be the Tarish opening. Okay, queen b6. Definitely playable. I haven't looked at these variations for white or black in a while. So don't necessarily try to hold the play to too high a standard, guys. Castle or knight BD2? Let's go knight BD2. Ideas like queen c7, we just overprotect e5. We're not in a rush to build up to take on d4. We want to keep our e5 strong point intact. I am hoping one of these days, guys, that we will be able to have some guests in here. There's a couple streamers I've been talking to about coming into the channel and that are like beginner intermediate level players. Play bishop b5 maybe? I don't want to let him take my bishop. I would like to keep it to attack, but it doesn't... See, what I'm looking at is if I go knight b3, he takes. And then plays bishop b4. I guess we play bishop d2, and we're going to get d4 as well at some point. Raids can help you boost with viewers, but it depends. You know, I raid pretty much regardless of how many... Right, but bigger channels, like really big channels, are probably not going to raid me. I've got a couple of friends who get like 30 to 60 people who will raid me. That's nice. But honestly, that doesn't usually lead to a lot of follows or people who come back, is the funny thing. I had a friend raid me the other day with like 60 some people and I only got like 2 follows. I keep following just the general advice on that people say for growing channels and stuff, but it just, you know, the ideas don't really seem to work end up working too well on my channel. You know, they say play viewers, they say be engaging, you know, do a variety of things, have a set streaming schedule, you know. I've tried all of that stuff, and it's helped. It does. Right. I would just like to get to the point where the channel averages about 10 people these days. It doesn't even average 5 people on average. If I had more streams like the one that seems to be going on right now, you know, that would be cool. Even that would be cool for starters, you know. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully I will see you soon on a future stream. You have a good evening, and I'll see you later. Okay, so much thinking about this knight takes d3 move. I don't think this knight takes d3, queen takes d3, bishop b4, bishop d2, bishop, queen takes. Then white has 3 pieces developed. It's very nice. d4 is going to fall. And white can castle on either side of the board. White would have a very, very, very good position there. But at the same time, black wasted a move when maybe he should have been completing his kingside development. Right? It's totally true. I would rather have 20 consistent viewers. And I think that was one thing that chess.com pointed out to me the other day was they said your follows have gone up, but it doesn't really lead to any consistent, you know, it's not leading to you getting a few more viewers consistently. And they said, you know, that's not the be all end all for them. Like, they're not expecting me to have, you know, a bunch of people watching necessarily, but they are. Okay, so I think bishop e3. It's always dangerous to capture pawns on b2. The queen could get trapped, or the rook can come into b7 possibly. Black should have focused on e5 pawn. We would have overprotected, still taken on d4. I don't gambit. There's not a lot of pure gambits I play where I just give up a pawn that I know I'm not going to get back. And this is one I'm pretty confident you're going to get the d4 pawn back if you play the correct way. Oh yeah, and what you're saying about 20 consistent viewers, that would be amazing. But, you know, I'm grateful for everybody on this, you know, everybody who tunes into this channel. I have seen a lot of growth. The last several months have been some of the best growth ever. So, you know. So what I'm thinking here is I would like the rook on d1 so that at some point maybe we go c4 and we're trying to open and get in on d7. So tempting to just knight g5, h6. We provoked a weakness. Does it mean anything? Probably not. Yeah, see you later. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate the support. Make sure you check out the Discord. We can talk off stream. Yeah, and you know, come back. Let me help you with your chess. Maybe we can play a themed game on Sunday where we work on what you discussed and I can offer advice. That's an easier way for me to offer advice about a position. Okay, should I go c3, b4 type stuff? Again, taking on b2 is just very dangerous. My rook gets into the 7th. Sometimes they play knight f5 in the French, but we just take and then take on d5. This is the nice thing about our queen on d3. I am happy with the quality of the games tonight. With the exception of that last game. See, what is going on here? We're just getting a lot of wasting time. Look at this move is just, if he takes, we're gonna check and then we're gonna win on the bishop on c5 with a double attack. If he goes queen b6, we have knight d6 and he can't take it because he loses his queen. So he can't take because he loses. That means he's got to play like queen here. And then we're just going to take and go knight d6. Yeah, this is really, really messed up now for black. White has a much, much better position, if not just crushing. Because this knight's going to come into d6. Yep. So we're taking... Oh, he can take on b5, though. We can take on e7. He can take our queen. Okay, let's... Well, I can get this knight in on d4. Okay. If he takes with the bishop, we've got to take with the knight. The reason is because he's got 2 attackers on this knight. So we don't have time to... Although, if he takes here, we have knight d6. In between move. That's a nice little attempt there to exploit d6. We're defending our knight, and if he takes, we have knight d6. With check. So he's going to lose the right to castle. Let's see, chat. What is the move? What, my board just disappeared again. You guys can probably all see this next crushing move. Yeah, he resigned. He resigned. Let's... Knight c7 wins. It's quite possible here, though, that black is already just in big trouble. Because... What, queen here? Maybe he's still okay. We'll see. Let's see what the computer says. That's 3.5 out of 4, guys. I mean, 3.5 out of 4. What else can we do? Okay. 94.9% accuracy versus 73.4. Smooth. You had the advantage from start to finish. That's how I like it. Okay, so this is book. Knight c6. Knight bd2 is an inaccuracy. Okay, I thought that castles was also an option. Castles was also an option, guys. Like I said, I haven't looked at this. So black is much better. But knight b4 is a mistake, basically. And we also could have taken on d4. Is apparently either way, we're gonna get d4 at some point. Okay, white is best here, not by much. Okay, white's slightly better, not by much. And somewhere in here, okay, the computer likes black's moves, but then he gets himself in trouble. Yeah, queen c7 was the move. Queen c7 was the move that was an inaccuracy. And that's where this is going to start going downhill. Because of knight b5, white is plus 1.5 almost after knight b5. So like I was saying, bishop takes c5. There's queen takes c5. And there's a fork. And because we have 2 attackers on the bishop, and the king is in check, we're going to win a bishop. So, queen c7 was the one move. 142, knight fd4. Okay, white's 1.68, and then queen a6 is a blunder. Bishop takes d4, yeah. Knight d6. King f8, and c takes d4. And the king is on f8. The rook can't move. The king can't castle. We have the open c file. We have a gorgeous knight on d6. Yeah, this is just it might be plus only 1.3 something, but it's definitely better for a lot better for white. And it's probably gonna get after black makes a move, it's probably gonna get a lot better. So he just walked into the he just walked into getting himself knight c7. He just resigned before I played it. But he was already in trouble after knight fd4. Alright. I'm gonna take one quick second and use the restroom. Again, that is 3.5 out of the last 4, so that's very nice. I will be right back, guys. Alright, let's try to get one more dub before we probably call it. I don't want to push my luck here. Like, I've been very accurate with my moves tonight. You know? Okay, so we have a chance to, well, nothing we're really doing tonight opening wise is getting us in trouble, so we're just gonna. Okay, c5. We've already seen this twice tonight with good results. What's he gotta do? Knight c3, c3, d5. Okay, when they go c3 in this position, you just take. Go d5. And this is a position that's been seen hundreds of times on my channel in Blitz, Bullet, slow games. You know. E5 is the most common. Yeah. And then we got bishop g4, knight c6. Even though he's gaining space, d4 can become weak. Especially if we get this in here and the queen here. Okay, now we want to just take, forcing g takes f3 to not allow knight takes d4. He can try, as I say, you can try bishop b5, I feel like is more, well, bishop b2 is okay. I hope I didn't give him this move. Okay, knight g7. Ooh, queen b6, hitting d4, pressuring b2. So what happens in a lot of these positions is this d4 pawn just becomes really weak. And if the queen goes to b6, she's not only going to be hitting d4, she's going to be hitting b2. Queen a5 would have kicked that knight back. Maybe would have been better. Okay. Now we're just going to go... I guess we're going to temporarily, we're going to defend d6. We're going to play a6, and then we're just going to come back. We're going to slow play it. We don't want the knight in on d6. We saw in the last game the possibilities of my knight going to d6 and how many future issues that could cause in a position. So, yeah, we are losing a tempo going backwards, but he's going to lose a tempo when we play a6, so it's going to be all the same. It's going to be all the same. a6. Okay, so now we have queen b6, hitting d4.
I see that your door is unlocked.
Hey! You can't be in here.
Okay. Me and Corbin were just texting. Me and Michael were just texting home lunch right at the table. Me on the table.
Should we gambit? Guys, should we take this and let him have our
Are you
rook?
winning? Or losing?
What are you doing in here?
I'm watching while I brush my teeth.
Nana's gonna be disappointed.
He's winning.
Alright, let's do it. Let's take the pod.
What?
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people watching. You are not supposed to. Yeah, I was gonna say. Thank you. I think I have enough compensation for the exchange. E5's gonna be weak. The E-pawn's gonna be weak. We already have a pawn and a bishop. We're just gonna complete development. Rook's gonna go here. We're gonna come in knight c6. E5's gonna be really bad. This knight is not really clear what's going on with that knight. I mean, it was probably unnecessary, but if we allow Bishop c5. If we allow bishop c5, then it's going to be hard to get the e5 pawn. So he got a tempo, but we're just going to play b5 and kick his knight back. We're threatening to take on e5. He doesn't want to move his queen because that runs into knight takes f3, possibly. Actually, if he moves his queen, it might run into knight c2 forking. Okay. Knight c3. We move our knight, move our rook. I wanted to follow knight c3 up with queen c7, hitting e5 and the knight, but our d4 knight hangs. But he decides on knight b2. Very odd. Develop our knight. I mean, it may have just been way pushing my luck to just sack with the way things have been going tonight. Honestly, the computer's probably not going to like that. Rook c8. That is knight c2. Rook c1. I could take and then take on f3. I mean, knight c6, we're going to have a double attack on e5 and b4. Oh, I probably shouldn't have allowed this. Probably no reason to allow that. This is why we're not going to push our luck, and this is going to be the last game, because that was completely unnecessary on my part. Yeah, just letting the knight get in. I want to take on f3 if the knight moves into c5. And then we can take on e5 with tempo. Oh yeah. This is the first time tonight in my 2.5 hours of playing white has a, you know, I'd say this is probably the first losing position I've had all night. I didn't need to make the decision I made. Kind of regretting that now. Okay. See, I'm worried about this. I thought knight takes f3, knight takes e5, but he has knight d7, forking. I haven't lost. I have 3.5 out of 4 in my games tonight. The rook's an issue, so maybe we just move the rook. Maybe we just move the rook somewhere. We can't really go knight c5 because we could just take on f3 and take on e5. Hey, Chess Coach Ned, how you doing, man? Welcome into the stream. This is the first, I'm really proud of myself. This is the first, like, objectively losing position I've had in 2.5 hours. I have 3.5 out of 4 in my game 15. It's been a really, really good stream. Had 9 to 10 people for the longest time watching, which is really good for my channel. So, it's been a good stream. How you doing, my man? You planning on streaming later? Or you just take it easy today? Yeah, so back here where you play bishop a3, I was more concerned about bishop c5. But you know what? We probably, even taking on d4 is probably better. I thought by keeping the queens on the board. It's too bad I don't have time for queen a5 forking. Because he'd have to go like queen c1, then he'd lose d4. See, I thought I had knight takes f3. And knight takes e5. Oh, but he has knight takes e6 with the queen on f3. Clever. So can we just move? With the same idea? Well, good to have you into the channel. Always a good stream when you're here. So guys, I've been working on my YouTube channel. So if you're willing to support me there by subscribing, I'd really appreciate it. Except draw. Really, he wants to draw. I mean, objectively, I know I'm down material and I should probably accept the draw. But there's also that psychological thing where I'm probably watch me lose this now. Watch me find a way to lose this. Isn't that like wouldn't that be so typical, like you get offered a draw in a position that objectively maybe you're losing, and then you decline it and then you end up losing the game. I've had that happen so many times. Okay, we can just take on f3, right? I feel like his dad, he said his dad's yelling at him to do chores. I feel like hopefully his dad has distracted him from finishing this, playing this game well. I mean, we have to be careful, but we do have 2 pawns. The goal ultimately in the sacrifice earlier was to get the e5 pawn. And this is the thing about that I was thinking about this position was we need we have I wish we had knight f3, but he could just take with his queen. So we have to like push d4 because he was trying to take sack on e5 since he's already up. Yeah, I'm hoping we can find a way to win this. It is kind of, we got to be careful. E6 at some point could be, if my knight has to move, then e6. I mean, I am flirting with losing if I don't play carefully. Probably just queen d5, right? d3 we could push. I mean d2. Oh good, now I'm lagging. He's been doing it the whole night, and then I am. Okay, let's go for it. Let's go for it. We want 4.5 out of 5. We're not satisfied with 4 out of 5. We want 4.5 is the objective. If he takes on a6, if he takes on a6, he's threatening this move. Queen d5 just seems so natural. Okay. Let's cut his rook off, though. I'm glad he didn't see that fork threat. Or am I just hallucinating? Yeah. No, there's a fork threat. Alright, we should just be doing good here. Alright, we gotta be careful with our king. But now he's having to blockade our passed pawn, which is very nice. At some point, we might move our bishop to this diagonal. If I can go f6 and e5, e4 maybe as well. Again, our king is in the center of the board, so we're gonna have to take it. Gonna have to take it really slow. This has been our night all night, so really don't want to lose this game. So should we just now take this opportunity to hide with our king somewhere before we get ready to push. If we go bishop here, knight here, queen here, I guess. I just want to make sure he's not really making any progress in my position. Okay. So I want to move my king now so that we can push this central pawn. Be careful not to blunder here now that we've got 2 pawns and a minor piece for the rook. My thought was that I would play queen d6. Everything's protected. I think even at this point, if we trade queens, I've got more than enough. A3 also looks like it could be falling. A very nice pass d pawn. Our king is relatively safe. All we need to do is go king f8. And he's just going to hide in the corner, and there's not really any way to exploit that. King f8. Oh, I could have taken and played knight g3, knight e3. Or just taken on a3. Oh, well. I mean, still probably just better in this position because of my central pawns. Okay. Now we're hitting a3. Rook a1, knight c2. Rook takes... Am I missing something here? I don't think so. Rook a1, knight c2, rook takes a6, we just take. And then take. Yeah, now we're just completely winning this. But oops. Oopsies. Wow. Yeah, I big time blundered that. Big time blundered that. I mean, I'm still actually probably just winning this, is the funny thing. Okay, and there's this move, rook d8, king e7. It's always nice when you can blunder and you're still winning, you know? I could just keep it on the board. I give him drawing chances, though. I gotta take, right? Keep the rook from penetrating is my guess. So we need to. Okay. I mean, if I get the B pawn off the board, somehow, it's just. Okay, I don't want him taking that A pawn though. That's gonna make it way more. So let's do this. Rook A1, we have knight A4. And then we're just gonna bring our king closer. And if he doesn't try to make a move on the A pawn, 5, knight D5. Plus he's got 2 minutes left. He's got to avoid getting his rook and his king forked somehow. I want knight D5. That's going to force rook B1. No, there is no rook B1. Knight D5. Rook B1. Insta loss. Knight C3 fork. So this move may just decide the game. I mean, rook A6 we can just take, and then if he plays rook B1 we go A5 and we just start pushing. A situation where the knight and the 2 pawns are better than the rook. Take on B4. What's his solution here? Now his rook is going to have to go into passivity to stop my queenside pawns. Okay, knight C6. Rook A1, we just start pushing. Rook C1, king D5. Rook D1, knight D4 with tempo. Then we just start bringing the king over. It's all about the technique, guys. It's all about the technique. These pawns, very powerful. I mean, they're powerful enough that if they were a couple squares up the board, you could just consider letting him take your knight in some situations, and then just marching them up. Okay, he's fighting. And he's gonna have less than a minute here in a second. He's got increment. But they're just completely losing, you know? I expect resignation. I don't think he's gonna play this out till the end. Honey, I'm a perfect 10. Whoa. I mean, look at these gorgeous pawns here. Okay. Now we just focus on creating another passer. King C1 is an insta lost with knight here. Alright. Let's just get another passer. Kind of in like a zugzwang. How do we do this? I don't really want to move a pawn. I mean, I can probably just let both queenside pawns fall. Or we can push to get the king in. I mean, is there anything I can do? Why has this become harder than it should? Why has this become harder than it needs to? Maybe just because I'm tired. This has become much more difficult than it feels like it should have. Amazing. Somewhere along the line, I missed something. I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful to not let him get a draw in this position. That would be disappointing. Disappointing way to end the night. You know? I mean, maybe with proper play, this is a draw now. I mean, we're definitely still playing to win this. I mean, I want to use the knight to shelter my king. Oh my goodness. Are we really gonna have to do this? I think this might be a draw now. It's a draw. Because we gotta move our king. And then he takes on f4. Alright. That was just bad. Not the way we wanted to go out. Really bad. Alright, so let's see. Yeah, my accuracy was much lower in this game. 75 versus 68. Missed wins. I didn't miss a win. I don't believe that. We really think that Black wasn't winning in that endgame. Okay, let's see. I mean, I'm already better here. Objectively. I'm +2 here. Knight c8. Just go queen b6. Let him come in. No, he can't even really come in because then he loses d4. So just play queen b6. I don't know what I was doing. Worried about... The knight's not going to do anything in there. So, here though, knight takes d4. Knight takes d4. It's suggested initially. Wait. No. Queen takes d4. Queen takes d4. Queen takes d4. Knight takes d4. Bishop takes f8. And king takes f8. And black is actually better here. Threat to take on e5. We can bust structure. So sacking is fine, guys. Sacking on d4 was a fine decision. Just not this way. I don't know. Black's still better here, actually. Still better. Still better. And white's finally better. This game's gonna change evaluations a few more times. Knight c5 was a mistake. Knight takes e5. Oh, knight takes e5. Because queen takes d4, there's knight takes f3 winning the queen. I should have looked at that longer. Yeah, knight takes e5 just threatens to take on f3. You got two pawns in the minor. So king e8 was a mistake. And I still had knight takes e5. So this was the first real miss. Big miss. And white's just completely winning here, but he blundered. Now it's equal. Yeah, and he had, here I said he had knight takes a6 with knight c7 fork. Knight d3 was bad. Black is better. And I should have just taken on g3. And I'm just objectively winning. But I didn't. I'm still objectively probably winning. Knight takes a3 was a blunder though. Yeah, because it allowed Knight e4. I moved too fast. And it says white's +2. I guess my pawns are going to fall. That's interesting. It doesn't feel that bad. White's actually slightly... Okay, now he's not. He is. He's not. Again, there's no rook c1 or rook b1, guys, because of knight c3 with the fork. So... And I could have taken this opportunity to push e4, I guess. E4? What? E4. Oh, because if he takes, we have the fork. So we just get our pawn one square further up the board, I guess. So I guess white was winning. But okay, this is +2. Pushing them together is good. +3. How'd I lose this? Knight d6, knight d4 is unnecessary, but still better. And don't push a3. So I got a little too anxious. I should have prepared to move my knight, I guess. So what should we play here? A2, I guess. A2, king b2, and knight c2. Oh, with the threat to queen with check. And then if he sacks, he can't stop both of our pawns. Oh, I missed that. Yeah, because... But, I mean, still. This is +6. This is +12. And I should have played a2, king b2, and knight c2. So that is disappointing. I should not have missed this. I should have taken a couple more seconds. I had plenty of time. And found that this is just winning. So the question is, am I winning after knight d2 though? I'm still plus almost 2. And we play a2? Oh, a2, okay. King b2, he can't take because of knight c1. King b2. Originally it said to turn this into a bishop for some odd reason. Knight d4 hitting the rook. Rook b8 and e3 is +4, I guess. And then king takes, and then king e4 is winning. Okay, so the idea of using the a pawn, his ability to not be able to... Okay, so there was threats to fork, so white could not take our pawns right away. And in that time of making sure white didn't get forked, black brings his king over. And so white ends up holding this game later because his king gets over to the king's side. But I didn't need to let that happen. Take on a3. I'm only +1, so... Yeah, the white king is just too close. The Light King is just too close. And now we have to put, now when we push, it's just a draw, basically. Anyway. Interesting battles. Got to settle for 4 out of 5, guys, but I didn't lose. Did not lose a, didn't lose a game tonight, actually. So, I mean, gotta take that, right? 3 wins, 2 draws. Objectively, I should have won this one. And the other one that I drew, I was completely outplaying my opponent. There was never a clear win in that other game. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. If you want to see more streams of Game in 15 minute chess, I guess I can do that. You know, if that's what you guys want to see, I can do more of that. Just maybe chime in on Discord, let me know. It's been awesome having all of you guys here tonight. Thank you for the follows and the support. If you want to continue to encourage me in the midst of these crazy busy days that I'm in, to do more streaming, there's a link to donate. You can also sub to the channel. Yeah. Grateful for each and every one of you. Like I always say, you guys make this a lot of fun. And if you guys didn't like this, you know, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. You guys have a good night. I guess we'll send a small mini raid to somebody. A small mini raid to somebody. Who is streaming? I don't know. Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you probably in a couple of days.